tell you what, we've got a lot of Lee Max and David Mitchell's listening to this show. A brilliant source of comedy writing out there this morning. I'm very, very impressed. Stephen Derbyshire says, surely Arnie would say, I'll fill the cracks. Very good. I bet Arnie's pothole is replying, I'll be back. 503 on the text are brilliant, but perhaps the winner this morning has to be, surely so, it's got to be Asphalt La Vista pothole. Asphalt La Vista. I mean, that is so good. It's so good. Oh, it's the way you tell him. I know. I apologise. Well done, all of you. QI Elves are back at 7:50, 7:33. I'll tell you the theme at 7:15. All on the way. This is Radio 2 on your smart speaker and on 88 to 91 FM.
BBC News at 7 o'clock on Wednesday, the 12th of April. Good morning, this is Tina Dahealy. A major security operation is in place in Belfast as President Biden prepares to carry out the first engagements of his tour of Northern Ireland. There's continued disruption to NHS services in England as the juniors' doctors' strike goes into its second day. And Elon Musk tells the BBC that taking over Twitter has been painful. President Biden will hold talks with Rishi Sunak and meet the leaders of Stormont's main political parties on the first full day of his visit to Northern Ireland and the Irish Republic. He flew into Belfast last night amid a huge security operation involving hundreds of police officers. The trip coincides with the 25th anniversary of the Good Friday Agreement, but it's been overshadowed by the failure to restore Northern Ireland's devolved assembly, which collapsed last year. The former US envoy to Northern Ireland, Mitchell Rees, thinks Mr Biden can help Stormont get back up and running.
American presidents from both parties have played a key role at key moments of the peace process. The president just simply drawing attention to the significance of the moment and how far Northern Ireland has come is a positive. I think also with the appointment of the special envoy, Joe Kennedy, to try to bring in more foreign direct investment from the United States to create jobs would also be beneficial.
Junior doctors are starting a second day on picket lines outside hospitals in England as their pay dispute continues. Hospital bosses say that with each day of the walkout, the situation is becoming more difficult. The action is due to end on Saturday morning. Members of the British Medical Association want a 35% pay rise to make up for years of below-inflation wage increases. The government says that's unaffordable. Here's our health editor, Hugh Pym.
Health leaders had warned that the prospect of a 4-day strike was extremely worrying, with patient safety a concern. NHS providers said that on the first day there'd been a drop in demand for emergency care, but in general across England, staff were overstretched and trusts were worried about covering night shifts. Some were postponing cancer care as well as planned operations to redeploy resources to critical care. NHS providers added that with every day of the strike, it would become more difficult to sustain staff morale and the potential risk to patient safety would increase.
Donald Trump has insisted he's not guilty of falsifying business records and says he will continue to run in next year's presidential election campaign, even if he's convicted. In his first interview since being charged in court in New York, he claimed staff there were crying and apologising to him as he was being processed. Winds of up to 70 miles per hour could hit parts of the UK today. Met Office yellow warnings are in place in southern England and Wales as well as in Northern Ireland. Motorists are being urged to take extra care on the roads today as outbreaks of heavy rain are expected to accompany the strong winds. Elon Musk has confirmed that the way the BBC is described on Twitter will be changed after the corporation objected to one of its accounts being labelled government-funded media. In a wide-ranging interview overnight with the BBC, Mr Musk said the tag on Twitter would be adjusted to read publicly funded to reflect that output is paid for via the licence fee. He was asked if he had any regrets about buying the social media company.
It's been really quite a stressful situation, for the last several months. Not an easy one. But apart from the pain, so it's been quite painful, but I think at the end of the day, it should have been done. I think were there many mistakes made along the way? Of course. But all's well that ends well.
The solicitor, Lord Phillips, who was Radio 2's legal eagle for more than 25 years, has died. He was 84. The former Liberal Democrat peer also helped set up a number of charities, including the Legal Action Group, which promotes equal access to justice. But Andrew Phillips will be best remembered for his regular slot on Jimmy Young's lunchtime programme, giving listeners plain-speaking advice on everything from custody battles to loan agreements.
You are entitled to cancel by the end of the 5th day following the day on which you received your copy of the loan agreement. And if they try and tell you otherwise, well, tell them from me they're wrong, and they know they're wrong. And it's obvious, isn't it? You're not going to have a law that gives you 5 days from the time it was posted. It's going to be when you got it.
Glamorous outfits worn by Marilyn Monroe, Sir Elton John and Tina Turner will be showcased at the Victoria and Albert Museum in London this summer. The exhibition's based on the term diva and how it's been redefined. The pink gown and Wellington boots worn by Dame Shirley Bassey at Glastonbury will also be on display. The weather forecast: very strong winds will hit southern and western areas. It will be generally unsettled with showers for most parts of the UK. These will be heavy at times. Highs of 8 Celsius in Belfast, 9 in Edinburgh, 10 in Cardiff and 12 in London. That's the BBC News at 7:05.
Oh, amazing to hear his voice again. That was incredible. The weather today, what is happening?
Windy.
But Tina Dahealy, star of the piano, were you a former concert pianist or something or other?
Well, in my spare time.
Okay, yeah, it's amazing, your skills. By the way, you have watched the latest episode of Succession now. Thank goodness at last I have someone to discuss it with.
Oh, my goodness.
The acting.
Everything
Sarah
about
Snook. I
it.
mean, all of them. It's so good. James, next door, can you hurry up, please? And my brother need to discuss.
So
That's
good.
agreed. Thank you, darling.
On the BBC Sounds app, on your smart speaker, and on 88 to 91 FM.
Rise and shine.
BBC Radio 2.
Hello, Tony Tigers. Do stay safe today. As Tina says, yellow weather warnings in place all day for gales and heavy rain in Wales and the south of England. There are warnings of travel disruption and power cuts. Richie will keep you updated every half hour with all your travel as well. Today is the International Day of Human Spaceflight, to commemorate the day that Yuri Gagarin was the first human in space 62 years ago today. And he famously said, "I see Earth. It is so beautiful. We must look after it." Fabulous. Okie dokie, coming up. 7:33.